I wrote an article recently, and the article was titled, Is HIV a Lifestyle Choice? And I took a lot of flack for that, and actually kind of find it quite amusing. Let me explain my position on that. If I'm a smoker, and I was for 20, 30-something years, and I chose to ignore the packet, it said don't smoke, it causes cancer, blah, 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 but I still puffed my 15, 20, 30 cigarettes a day, depending on what kind of environment I was in and whether I was stressed or not. And if I was to stand up now in, say, 5 years' time and tell a group of people, my name's David Patient and I'm a man who's living with lung cancer because I smoked for X amount of years, how much empathy am I going to get? How much sympathy am I going to get? Chances are not too much. I certainly won't get a grant. No government's going to give me money and say, oh, Shane, we feel sorry for you. No donor's going to step forward and go, well, here, let me give you medication for the rest of your life. And there's not going to be a whole bunch of NGOs chasing around trying to engage me in staying alive and taking my medication and doing all the things that we do for people living with HIV. Another scenario would be the person who chooses to drink. If a person chooses to drink and they drink to excess and they get liver failure and all those kinds of complications, or alternatively, have a couple of drinks, get behind the wheel of a car, they have an accident, they hurt somebody, including themselves and or not themselves in the process, do we look at them and go, oh, shame, poor person, they're a victim of their circumstances, isn't it terrible, you know, they're powerless in this whole situation? No, we don't do that. We hold them accountable. Another thing is diabetes. There's another prime example, type 2 diabetes. It's a lifestyle choice. People are choosing to eat rubbish food, they're choosing not to exercise, they're choosing to do a whole bunch of different things, and then when they get the diabetes, they start crying foul. It's like, well, you know, reality is we've got to start holding people accountable for their actions. Now, with the exception of people who are forced into a sexual act against their will, and children who are born with HIV, pretty much anybody else out there has consciously made a decision to not practice safe sex, i.e. not use a condom. They have chosen to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 partners. Who knows? I don't have a judgment about it. I'm simply stating reality. They have chosen not to listen to the messaging. They have chosen to ignore what they know about HIV. They have chosen not to use a condom. Therefore, the only logical conclusion that I can arrive at is that they have chosen to become HIV positive. Why are we not holding people accountable? I am not saying that we should not take care of them. I am not saying that we shouldn't give them medication. I am not saying that we shouldn't put in structures in place to help support those individuals. But what I am saying is at some point we've got to start saying to people, well, hang on a second. Did you not see the ads? Did you not attend the class? Did you not read the books? Did you not see the TV commercials? Did you not watch the various television shows? Have you been unconscious? Have you had your head in the ground for the last 15 years? Reality is, and I work on the ground. I spend most of my time working in rural communities. I'm very clear on the fact that the majority of the people I speak to know about HIV, all the way from the 10-year-old child all the way up to the 85-year-old grandmother. Pretty much everybody knows how you get this disease. So if you're choosing not to listen to the messaging, the only conclusion we can possibly draw is that you are making the choice to become infected. Therefore, you need to live with the consequences of your choice. We will help you. We can do what we can. The donors will give you medication. The government will step up. All those things are going to happen. But ultimately, you've got to take responsibility for your actions. I know it's not popular, but it's the reality that we're living in. We've got to hold people accountable. In my book, empowerment is about increasing people's conscious choice. And that's all prevention has been about. It's about increasing people's conscious choice. We can't go back to the drawing board. We can't turn back the clock 25 years and change all the things that we've done. And we've made a lot of mistakes. We've made a lot of assumptions. The reality is nowadays we've got to start holding people accountable. If people want to embrace their cultures, if they want to embrace their beliefs, if they want to embrace their lifestyles, then they need to be held accountable as such. And that includes the woman who is in a disempowered relationship, who has a constitution that supports and protects her, but she chooses not to do anything about it when her husband beats her up, come home drunk, forces her into sex, etc., etc. We've got to start having some very different conversations and much more courageous conversations than we're currently having.